The reality of the matter is almost every single coin that gets launched will automatically dump and fail. The biggest question is, how do you find that 1%? And number two, when do you sell and take advantage of the coins that usually tend to fail? Today I'm going to answer that question on when to actually sell and a strategy I personally implemented that allowed me to go from 0.5 all the way to six figures. And we're going to be talking about that today. So if you like how that sounds, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions on trading coins, drop them in the comment section down below. So the first things I want to tell you guys, and I highly always suggest, guys, you're going to need the proper tool to trade. And this is basically like if you are a mechanic, if you're a dentist, if you're a doctor, you're going to need some tools to actually do your job. And the best tool currently right now, in my personal opinion, that allows you to trade coins fast, easy, and at a very low cost is Bullocks. If you're trading manually, this is the way to go. So I already gave you guys my method, which was the 4-6-8 method on when to actually, be able to take a position on a coin. So when to buy a coin. So the link is down below to that video. This video is going to be particular based on when to sell. So I'm going to give you guys a different numerical strategy that has helped me out a lot called the 523. Now the 523 is going to be dependent on the amount of money that you actually have to put into a coin. So the more you grow your bag, the higher number you're going to increment it to, right? So we have 5, which is going to be one strategy. We have the 2 strategy and we have the 3 strategy. And the way this works is that you're going to increase the risk to get more rewards, right? So the less money you have or the less soul you have is the least risk you're going to take. And the more you have, the more risk you're able to take because you're able to absorb that risk factor. Now, this is a strategy that helped me. I'm sharing it with you guys. Once again, this is not financial advice. You guys can do whatever, you guys feel fit. This is just exactly what kind of worked for me. So let's jump in and take a look at a couple charts. So like I said at the beginning of the video, the majority of these coins, guys, are going to completely go down to the bottom. Okay, they're going to completely fail and they're going to just kind of just die off. All right, so to demonstrate this strategy, guys, I'm going to show you guys a coin I recently called on TG. And, you already 2x on this one called the Ross coin. This coin did really, really well. And the thing is knowing when to sell. So I'm going to give you guys, like I said, 3 different strategies depending on how big your bag is. The bigger your bag, the more risk you're going to take because you're able to absorb that risk. The less money you have, the least risk you're going to take. Okay. And so this strategy, we're going to start off with the 5, the first number out of the 5-3 strategy. And what does exactly that mean? 5 just pretty much represents 50%. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do a quick line here. Let's pull this line here. Let's say, for example, you bought here at this 5 mil range. Okay. You bought this at this 5 mil range. Let's change it right here to green. So this is a quick example. You bought right here. So what we're going to do from this particular line, we're going to go to our limit order. And from here to 10 mil is basically a 2x, right? Like it's kind of like right here, kind of dab that right here. So the 5 strategy, the way that works is instead of selling for a 2x, you're actually selling at a 50. Okay, so you're not gonna be selling for a 2x. This is when you don't have a lot of money, guys. This is like when you are, you don't have a lot. Basically, you're gonna be selling at 8.7 mil. And what this is gonna allow you to do, it's gonna allow you to completely sell out. But the key point here, the key point is you're not gonna sell your complete bag. Okay, you're not gonna sell your complete amount of money. So let me give you guys an example. Let's say, for example, let's leave this marker right here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So this is 50%. It's like right here, right there. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put one soul here. Okay, this is one soul that you put in here. By the time it gets here, you have 1.5. Okay, that's what you have. That's the amount of soul you have. Now, theoretically, what people usually do, and what I recommend for a lot of starters, is sell your complete bag. But this is going to be for you to increment your bag and what I tended to do. So what you're going to do here, instead of selling this 1.5, you're going to sell 1.3. Okay, so you're going to sell 1.3. So that's where you're going to sell. Okay, you're going to sell this at this 50%. Boom, that's out. So in this remaining part, you're gonna leave 0.1. So we're gonna kind of erase this here. That's where's the eraser? Okay, well, anyways, we're gonna leave a 0.2. Okay, 0.2 here. 0.2. That is what we have. Now, the thing with this 0.2 is consider it like it's gone. Consider it like it has nothing to do with your life. It has nothing to do with your business. It is just completely gone out of your wallet. Now, why is that super important? Because you never know when coins do this. Okay? You never know when coins do this. So, what we're talking about is if you were to leave the 0.2 here and it goes all the way here, you're looking at a 100, almost a 200, a 3x. Okay? So basically, what this is gonna do, it's gonna 3x your 0.2. So this is where it becomes beautiful, okay? Because you're gonna 3x this. So that's gonna give you 0.6. Okay. So instead of taking out what you originally would have had, which is 1.5, you're gonna almost have 2 SOL with no risk. Okay, that's the biggest thing here. You want to mitigate the risk because when it comes to trading meme coins, this is basically gambling. But if you're doing it correctly, you're not going to be losing. You're always going to be constantly winning because you're doing these strategies correctly and effectively. Now, this is only as you are building your bag because if you started with 1 SOL, now you have 1.9. So for the next play, you do the same thing. Okay, you do the same thing and you keep doing this over and over and over to eventually you're going to end up with 10 SOL, 15 SOL, and your gamble is going to go into the next strategy. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete everything here. Let's just go here and delete. All right, so now this is going to be for the number 2 strategy. This is for the number 2 strategy. Now you have 10 SOL, and you're going to say, okay, you know what? Out of this 10 SOL, now instead of 1 SOL, I am going to start gambling again. Okay, so I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna say I want to keep 8 SOL. Those are gonna be my bank. That's gonna be my little bank. But out of this bank, every day I'm gonna use 2 SOL. Okay, and you can divide this accordingly, like to 1 SOL, 2 SOL. But we're gonna do here 2 SOL for video purposes. Okay, so once again, we're gonna take the same analogy where we're buying at an entry of 5. Okay, so right here we're buying here at 5. And we're this time around, instead of doing the 50%, we're going to actually set this to a 2x, okay, which is what I teach this a lot on TG. I teach this on X. So if you guys are not following me there, highly recommend you guys follow me there because you guys are going to learn a lot to trade and you're going to be able to get on some plays early. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know, guys, listen, we don't win all the time, okay? This is not like every single call is going to be like, oh my goodness, a 2x, 10x. Some calls are going to be like a 2x only. Some calls are going to be a 3x. Some calls are going to be a 4x. Some calls just could completely not even go any further. It could go like a 40%, 30%. But it's just the game we play. You know, we want to play the game of the more we enter, the more likelihood we're going to be able to hit some really good multiples than we are not hitting multiples. So once again, this time around, we're putting 2 SOL. We're putting 2 SOL in here at this 5 mil. And instead of selling at an 8, we're actually going to be selling at the 10. But once again, we're not taking out the whole entire bag of 4 Solana. Okay, so we're not taking out the 4 Solana. What we're doing is we're taking out 3.5. Okay, so 3.5. What does that exactly mean? It means that we're already at a positive 1.5. So we took that out, we put it here in the bank, and that left us with 0.5 here. And once again, since we kind of already know the math, this is a 3x. That's going to give us a 1.5 Solana. So what this is going to allow us to do is that now that we have 3.5 and then we have 1.5, that literally puts us at 5 Solana that we did in this play because we left the moon bag. Moon bags are extremely, extremely important in this space. And if you're not leaving moon bags, you're doing this completely wrong. But I do want to make sure you guys understand whenever I personally leave a moon bag, my moon bag is moon or dust. Basically what that means, it's either going to give me the return that I want or it's going to completely just not do its thing. So one thing I like to do though is I always want to mitigate it because I don't want to lose all of 101, all of 0.5. I'm going to come in here. So this is what makes bullets beautiful. And I can literally go to sleep right with this. I can go to limit. I can bring this down and say, you know what? Oh, sorry. Let me get this right. I can literally bring this down and say, you know what? I am willing to lose let's say I'm going to lose 0.3 and I just want 100, 0.2 soul. And I can just sell, you know what, sell all. I want to sell everything when it goes here. And that's going to leave me with 0.2 still. But I'm still going to have, I'm still going to have the advantage that if it goes up, I'm making a nice multiple gains. Okay. So that is how you're going to be selling in this process. And the question is like, how do you determine? So if you guys are trying to 2x here, you want to determine how high you want to go on your multiple. So from here to there, okay, so from here to here, this is basically another 2x or another 3x. So what I like to do is, I like to 3x here and I'll take some profit because I want to make sure I'm making profit. So I want to sell my 2x and take some profit. So that is the two strategy. Now let's talk about the 3 strategy. So the 3 strategy is a little bit more riskier, but this is the one that once you have a really big bag, this is the one that's going to make you a really, really good amount of money. Okay. And this strategy is primarily focused on being in multiple places and doing it effectively. Okay. So how does this actually work? So the great thing about this one right here is that we're gonna do our same thing. We're gonna do our line here. And where is our line here? Oh, come on. Here's our line. So once again, we're gonna set this at 5 mil. We got in here at 5 mil. Okay. We got in here at 5 mil. But this time around, guys, we have a lot of Solana now. Okay. We have like 50 SOL. Okay, 50 SOL. So that means our 50 SOL, we have a really good bag here. So what I like to do is from this 50, I like to use 5. Okay. So instead of me taking a trade and waiting for a big push to make a good gain, I have to wait a little bit less now because I have more. So the more you have, the less you have to wait. But the beauty about it, okay, the beauty about it is that you actually don't have to wait too long to make a good profit. So how does this actually work? So what I do here is I'm going to come in here and at this 5 mil range, I'm going to put in 5 SOL. Okay. Now, if I wait for a 2x from here to here, which is going to be roughly like right here. Oh, I should probably stretch this out right here. That's going to give me 10 SOL. Okay. But what I'm doing here is I'm actually mitigating this a little bit better. When I'm doing this, I'm going to be doing this and say, you know what? I want a 3x. Okay. So then you're like, nah, that's crazy because how do you know you're going to 3x if you're only going to be 2xing? Okay. This is where the strategy comes into play. So for me to 3x, it's like a roughly around right here. Okay. Roughly around right here. Okay. So you're like, okay, crap. How do you know you're going to 3x? Because not every single call 3x. That's because we're going to implement a sell strategy that's going to allow us to gamble a little bit, but not lose the 5 SOL every single time. So the way that's going to work is we're going to go and we are going to implement another one of these. And this is going to be, we're going to go here. And what we're going to do with this one is that instead of us taking out a whole chunk, so we're going to do a really cool trick here, which is we're going to get 3 SOL. And you're like, how? Okay, so what we're going to do here is at the 30%, let me go, where's the 30%? Right about here. Okay, so somewhere like around here, like around this range here. I should probably change the color. So right here, somewhere right here is like the 30%. There's actually 40, but you guys get the idea. Somewhere around the 30%. This is where you're gonna, instead of taking the initial 5, you're gonna take out 3 SOL. Okay, so that's gonna leave you roughly with approximately like a good range. You're looking at about like 4 to 5, like 4 Solana still in play here, but you already saved some SOL, right? So you already saved the 30% of the Solana here. And this is a big high risk, high reward type of play. Like I said, this is only really effective once you have a good amount of Solana that you could actually afford to lose. Okay. If you don't have a good amount of Solana that you can't afford to lose, this is not a really good strategy. This is going to be something that you're going to kind of get used to losing to gain a lot, if that makes sense. So what you're going to do here is you're going to do 5 at the 30%. You're going to take, your percentile from that 5 SOL, and you're going to leave a little bit more SOL than you take out. So instead of taking out the whole complete 5, you're going to leave a little bit more. Okay. So you're going to leave like a 60% bag in here. So you're looking like, like this is gonna be like 7 to 6 souls. So you're gonna be leaving roughly like 3.5 to 4 Solana in here. Now the advantage of here is that when this 4 Solana stays in that pocket, if this goes up to what this did, which is kind of like a nice little 3 additional X, that's gonna become 12 Solana. But you already minimized your risk. You already minimized your risk because you kind of took half of the 5 soul. You already took that back, but the potential of the multiple on the 3x is so much higher because you have so much more Solana in. So in retrospect, if we look at it, if you took 3.5 out, right? Say you took 3.5 out, and out of this 3.5, you left 4 in here, 4 Solana. Then if you multiply that times 3, that's 12 plus the 3.5. So you're looking at a return of 15.5. Now the question is, what's the point of that? Can I just leave that here? And then if it does this multiple, can I just, wouldn't that be the same amount that you're taking out? Yes. The only difference is that you're mitigating your risk. And that is one thing that I definitely love teaching here, guys, is as long as you're mitigating your risk, you're not going to be constantly losing. You want to avoid losing because you could literally lose it all. So you want to make sure that you're mitigating your risk as much as you possibly can, but implementing these strategies because this is where you're going to be making the big bucks. Now, apart from this strategy is for you to build your bag. Okay. There is another strategy that I technically teach on how to turn, once you have a good profit of, let's say, $20,000, how do you turn that into 100,000? And then how do you turn 100,000 into a million? Into, how do you do that, right? So I have different strategies here, and that's why a lot of people have been asking me, can you do like a private sessions? Can you do some seminars? Can you do something like, some sort of way where people could learn this for free? So we are thinking of different ways or different methods. Some people have asked to like pay gate it and to only get a certain amount of people in. So if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section down below. But as long as we're all printing and we're doing it as a team, I think we're going to do very, very well. But big thing, guys, you want to make sure you're using the proper tools. So use the proper tools. Get yourself some bullets. Link is down below. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. And I have a video coming out on the best AI coins to buy like right now. So make sure you guys keep it locked here. And I'll catch you guys later.